makes me feel excited. Like,
it's so exciting.
So it is week 2, and this is kind of a different setup for our roundtable. I wanted to check in with you guys on your nutrition and a little bit also about ways to measure your body composition, which I forgot also, measurements. Okay, so ways to measure your body composition, okay, that are not only just using the scale. And then I also want to give you guys some quick ways to to measure your exercise intensity if you don't have a heart rate monitor, and then also just to understand what the heart rate monitor numbers mean. So I'm going to go over that really quickly, and then we'll hit macros super quickly because we want to be able to get into the other stuff as well. So ways to measure your body composition other than just the scale. Noelle gave a good one yesterday, which was to make sure you're taking measurements with a tape measure. So measure your hips, measure your waist, measure your arms, measure your thigh. Usually I do 2 thigh measurements, like a low thigh and a mid thigh. And then on your arms, you can do your arms extended, and you can do your arms flexed. I usually do 2 on the waist, right across the belly button, and then right across the bottom rib, because there's always different changes there. The biggest on your hips, which I got a lot of hip to go around, so that's usually like 40s, high 40s. One time it was 50 when I was really big, which my dude at the time thought that was the best thing ever. So just right around the biggest part of your hips, anywhere really want to take a measurement. That's one way. The scale, of course, is one way, but keep in mind, the only thing the scale is telling you is you against gravity. That's all it's telling you. It doesn't tell you body fat, doesn't tell you anything about that. It's just you and your total mass. Body fat percentage is a good way. He's like, yes. Body fat percentage is a great way to measure. And BMI. Okay, so BMI is basically just your height to weight ratio. So here's the tricky thing about BMI. Because it's only your height versus your weight. If you're short and muscular, your BMI is going to say you're overweight. So just keep that in mind. It's just telling you how tall you are versus how much mass you have. So
I'm technically considered obese on the charts.
Obese, see? Noelle, she is obese. Because if you're shorter to the ground and you are muscular, muscle weighs more, muscle is heavy, but the chart is going to say, oh, you're only 5, how tall are you?
5'3".
You're only 5'3", and you weigh this much, you must be obese. So keep that in mind.
So rude.
Yeah, however, short people, sorry, gotta be skinny and short.
I'm 5'3" also.
So I suggest the 2 to focus on is this and this. Your actual inches, measurements, and your body fat percentage. This tells your health far more than the scale tells your health, and it tells it far more than BMI does. Next thing is exercise intensity. So when we do the workouts, and I know when you had your heart rate monitor on, we're burning about 10 calories a minute. That's considered a high intensity routine. So in 20 minutes, you should be able to burn at least 200 calories. And I gave someone some advice a week ago. When I saw the numbers, here's a way to get the numbers up. Instead of standing during the break, march in place, or keep your arms and legs moving during that quick break that you get. Try to get in a little bit faster repetition. So this week you guys did skaters. Try to get your skaters moving a little bit faster. So just push yourself a little bit more. And she saw, that's Xander, she saw a huge difference in her calorie burn, her intensity. So if you want to determine how to measure intensity, make sure that you're pushing yourself as high as you can. You're going to take your 220 minus your age. That gives you what your max heart rate is. And once you have your max heart rate, you can take 90% of that max, that's considered high intensity. You can work at 75% of that max, that's moderate intensity, or you can work at 60%, which is low intensity. And then last but not least, determining your macros. Just to go over it one more time. I feel like I need to kneel down because I'm just like,
and look at
very
this.
passionate.
Look at this.
Oh, hi you guys on Facebook and IG. Okay, so jot this down, and then I'll also put a link in the comments on this, and I'll put a link in next door, just whatever that app is that I'm talking to. Instagram, bmrcalculator.net. So bmrcalculator.net. Actually, I think it's BMI calculator. I'm going to check before I post it. But when I put the link in, basically this is going to tell you what your base metabolic rate is. Your base metabolic rate is how many calories you're burning at rest, and then you get to also add in how many calories you're burning based on your activity level. So the reason this is going to be helpful is because just a rough estimate, if you take your scale weight times 10, that's a rough estimate of what you're burning every single day, even if you just woke up and laid in the bed and did nothing all day. So that's why fasting works. That's why when you drop your calories down, you lose weight. If I burn 1,600 calories just by doing nothing, and I only eat 1,200 calories in that day, I'm already negative 400 calories. So that's just going to help you guys understand how macros work, how exercise, why you're losing weight. Here is, again, the ranges you can start setting your MyFitnessPal in. I gave you guys numbers for macros based on a 1,200 calorie diet. Why? Because it makes more sense to start you off low and get you used to that and be able to add food back in. Would you rather start here and then every week take away food, or start here and every week add something in to adjust? Okay, so you start off low and then we're gonna add in as the week goes on. So carbs are gonna be 45 to 65% of your total calories. Fat is gonna be anywhere from 15 to 35%, and protein is gonna be 15 to 20. If you're doing keto, your fat is gonna be closer to 65 to 90% for keto. But here's the thing about keto, all right? There's a couple questions. If you're gonna do a ketogenic diet, I only suggest doing it in cycles. So maybe you're on keto for 3 weeks and then you have 1 week where you go back to a more evenly dispersed macro count. The reason you don't want to stay on that for long term, and I don't care what any person has told you, it doesn't matter who told you, yeah, you can do it for life. Guess what? You're going to get kidney stones and your liver is going to fail. So that's on you if that's what you want to do. But our bodies were not designed to only eat one kind of a thing, not eating carbohydrates. It's here for us to eat, so just keep that in mind. It's not healthy for you to stay on keto forever. As soon as you switch back over and you don't do it mindfully, the picture I posted the other day where I went from 154 to 212, that's what happens if you do it without cycling it. So I think it's great, but I think you need to do it mindfully. So I'll do a whole nother video just on keto so we can get to the other stuff. Your macros, should we do that really quick?
I'm down. You
Okay.
are.
So really quickly, come up here. I'll do this.
I'll be
How do we calculate your macros? Okay, so
Oh yeah.
you need your calculator.
Oh yes.
All right, so we're gonna say, Shireen, how much do you weigh?
157.
157. 150 weighs 157 pounds. We're gonna we're gonna divide that by 2.2.
Okay.
What's that?
7 divided by 2.
Can they see us? Can they see us?
It's this.
IG 71. So she weighs 71 kilograms because, like I mentioned in the video, most nutrition and anything like scientific is all based on the metric system.
Move over.
YouTube. Okay, so we're gonna take that 71 kilograms. And are you breastfeeding?
Not anymore.
Not breastfeeding anymore. You're doing these workouts. You're not doing like weights or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I would feel comfortable starting her off at 1.0, so just basically 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Because remember, protein is either 0.8 at the lowest up to 1.8 if you're super active and lifting weights and you're trying to gain mass. So I'm putting her kind of just in the middle or a quarter of the way through. So she's going to eat 71 grams of protein. All right, so 71 grams of protein equals how many calories? It's 71 times 4. That's how we get the calories for that.
71 times 4 is 284.
284. And then when it comes to carbs, what is your training goal? Do you want to lose weight, gain weight, stay the same?
Me?
Yeah.
I want to lose weight. I want to
Okay.
lose like 15 pounds.
Okay, so we're going to go on the lowest end of what is suggested by registered dietitians, that all you need to get through the day and have energy, which is 130 grams. That's the lowest that's healthy. Are we going to go underneath that? Some of us are, some of us aren't. 130 grams of carbs, which equals how many calories?
So it's 130
Times 4. Protein and carbs are both 4 calories per gram.
520.
520. So add those two together. 520 plus 284 equals
804.
800 calories. So because she has kids and a husband and a business, and I know her, so it's easier for me to give her a healthy number for calories. but she wants to lose weight, I'm gonna put her, because she weighs 150, I know she's burning at least 1,500 on her own, so I'll put her at 1,400, so it's not a huge deficit, so she has enough to work with, but she's not in this crazy, I'm starving, I have no energy, I can't, feed my kids, so that's my method behind that. That's the reason I just gave everyone, based on your weight, about 100 calories less than what you weigh. So 1,400 calories, so what was this number here?
804.
Minus 1,400.
596.
Divided by 9.
66.
66 grams of fat. Okay, so that's the back end of how I did that. I figure out what her total calories are going to be. I subtract what she already has in fat and protein, and then I give her this number here. Or you can go into MyFitnessPal. You can use the scale that I had here, which was the percentages, and you can put in your total calories, take your weight times 10, start with that, and adjust the carbs, the protein, and the fat. All right?
Okay.
Good with that? That's that.
Thanks,
And
Coach.
yeah, if you have a question.
I don't know if you guys checked out the Get Your Mind Right portion of week 2. Hopefully you did. If you didn't, you're welcome. We're about to go over it right now. Okay. So what we have here is the peace of mind square. Oftentimes, so like first week we talked about your 3 wishes, like where do you want to go? When you're, let's say, at the mall and you go to that map, the first thing the map says is you are here, because you have to first know where you are to know the gap between where it is that you are and where you want to go, so that you can get directions to get there, right? So that's basically what we're doing right now. We are basically going to rate our lives in 4 different areas. Peace of mind is when you have things intact: mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. And so what I want you guys to do is to rate those 4 areas of your life to see how far away we are currently from where it is that we really want to be. All right? So I'm just going to describe the categories for a second, and I want you guys to rate your own, like now. If you haven't already, do it now, because why not? Let's get deep and get all good with all the juju, okay? So the first category is mental. This is actually a category that is really around your career and your liberty and like life and freedom and sort of progress and where it is that you're going in your life. So how do you feel about that aspect of it? Yeah, you like your career. How do you feel in your career?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Yeah, 10 being hell yeah, killing it. 1 being it's not even, nothing's happening and it's terrible.
Okay.
So mental, go ahead and rate yourself. The next category is physical. That's obviously an easy one to figure out what that is. That's like, and that's what it means to you. Like for me, I want to lose 15 pounds of baby weight, so I am not there. Like I rated myself a 6. I'm not feeling it right now. I'm working on it, as we all know, but I'm not feeling it right now. So it's okay. Like just be totally honest with yourself. Use this as an opportunity to not judge what comes up, but just kind of really feel into what is the truth for you, and that way we can actually get some work done, as opposed to doing that thing we do sometimes where we lie to ourselves. We don't do that here. We don't do that in Power 30, okay?
Honesty only.
That's right. So mental, rated from 1 to 10. Physical, rated from 1 to 10. Spiritual. So this category, spirituality means something different to everybody, right? And I'm not trying to tell you anything about God, religion, like it's whatever it means to you. So for some people, it's going to be spiritually, how am I doing with my relationship with God? For some people, spirituality is going to be the universe and sort of more a metaphysical way of looking at it. And if you have none of that going on, then Xander's feeling it. He's feeling it. If you have none of that going on, then you can look at the spiritual category as what is my contribution to the world? Like, do I feel like I'm actually making a contribution? So whatever spirituality means to you, how do you feel you're doing right now on a scale of 1 to 10? And emotional. So emotional can be relationships with other people. Emotional can be an intimate relationship. Emotional can be your relationship to yourself, like how much you feel like you honor your word and stay true to yourself and stay loyal to yourself. So it's kind of a vague category. It's kind of like what's the most important for you right now as far as like where would you like to improve or what really needs attention. Okay, so are we gonna show everybody our dirty
strong there, huh?
Yeah,
She's been doing her push-ups.
You can thank Noelle for that, yeah.
Okay, here it's gonna be back. Is it backwards on here? They're backwards.
I think just read.
It's okay, yeah, just read.
So mental, which is career,
Yes.
right? I picked 7. Whoa. I think that right now in my career, there's definitely way higher levels to get to, and I have a lot more that I want to accomplish, and I am very happy with where it is right now. I think that actually I finally gave myself more credit than I usually do in the past on that, because I'm living, it's actually happening. Ideas that I wanted to see happen, dreams that I journaled about, and like, how could I not be excited about that? So, but there's more to go until I get to the 10. Physical, I put a 5 because I know, obviously, where I could be physically. I'm not unhappy with my body. I'm still strong. I could push myself a little bit more. And I think for me, physically, it's like, it's not even a certain look, but there's things like the one-arm burpees that we had to do earlier.
Oh, damn,
it's
girl.
moves that I'm like, I know I could, learn to challenge myself physically more to do non-exercise type of activities. Spiritually, I put 6 and 7. For me, it's the same. It's not, it's not so much about religion. I was raised in the church, and that's all fantastic and dandy. I'm grateful for my parents for doing that. As I've gotten older, I've realized how powerful spirituality is outside of just religion. And so I want to dig deeper into that, and I think I gave myself only a 6 or something. He's eating my arm because I need to get my routine better. I need to get my discipline with having my spiritual routine like in order. And then emotional, what was emotional again? I'm trying to...
Emotional is, it can either be relationship with other people, it could be relationship with yourself, it could be intimate, it's up to you, kind of.
So I gave myself a 6 on emotional because this year, and just like as we work on this, I want to work on self-care better. And I think my year ended last year, family relationships ended much better than they did in the beginning of the year, so I'm happy about that. And now I'm just thinking, like, how do I get it to a 10? Get it to a 10.
Well, that's
controlling emotions.
Yeah, so that's the next step. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So we'll just do our shares, and
Okay.
then we're gonna go into like what is it gonna take to get you.
You want to eat me? Here. Come here.
Here, let me help you out.
You want to help me? You want to eat? Hi.
All right, Noelle's turn.
All right, so for my mental, I put 8.5 because one thing that I do very well is follow through with my ideas. So if I have something that I am like really eager about and I actually feel very passionate about, I will make it come to life. So starting this year, actually since I had Xander, I've had a lot of more ideas come up for me, his clothing line being one. I really wanted to write an autobiography about myself. And those I'm actually like putting into the work. So I'm really excited about that. Physically, I put a 6. And it's not like, I'm not body shaming myself. I know I'm like the fitness person here, but there is, it kind of relates to what Kayla was saying, is that there is definitely a look that I would like to have. I've always been really fit my whole life, so there is that aesthetic image I have in my head that would be pleasing for me to have, and just being able to walk around with my son on my hip and feel that way, of course, but more so a lot of it ties into my mental, because physical for me has always been kind of a mental, I don't know what I would say for that, but like working out for me has always been mental. So not having my daily fitness routine is kind of been messing with my head a little bit. Spiritual, I put a 9 because I feel really great. I'm not religious in any certain way, but I like that. I could even break myself.
She's
a
spiritual,
little bit.
y'all.
Yeah, like I feel really good about. I do a lot of self work on myself. I listen to a lot of things that like kind of
to the
keep me.
universe.
Yeah, I'm super connected to the universe. Emotional, I put a 7 because. For instance, yesterday I like had a tough conversation with someone and I had meal prepped food, and instead I went on a whim and I literally had Postmates bring me a cupcake. So the follow through there, when it came to...
Is that in your budget?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, yeah, it was like a $12 cupcake when I should only been like
Damn,
$4.
girl!
I know.
I could have came over and baked you some. It's
What
okay.
was- I need
It's
to
fine.
check that.
Why is
Okay.
it so delicious
Was
though?
it like
No, the cupcake was only $3.50.
Oh,
but
it's
then
all
you
the
add the tax
delivery
and the
and the
delivering
tip
and all that
and all
shit, and it becomes $12. So,
Ah.
yeah, okay. But see, I'm being honest here, so whatever.
We
Yeah.
appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that part of it, because I have this trend where I wake up in the morning and like I'm super on it. Like I have my shake, I like set out my meals, I like feed Xander, I get some exercise in, like I feel really good. And then towards the end of the day, it's like I think it's because I'm tired. I'm like kind of waiting for Xander to want to fall asleep. And that's like the stage where I'm just like, I need to stay awake because he's still awake, so I want carbs, and then it just like, so that's the part I need to kick. And I feel like that comes down to the emotional part of me like sticking with my agreement that I have set forth for myself. So.
Yes.
It was a really good
These
cupcake,
are nice
so.
answers.
Love
Great.
it.
So mental is supposed to be like where you feel you are in life with your work.
Yeah.
I said 9.5 out of a 10.
Damn, that's my partner. That's my
But this is because it's my money for my work is not where I want it to be. No. But do I feel like wheels are moving, stuff is happening, I'm hitting the goals that I set for myself? Yes. So that's why I say 9.5. And the only reason why it's a 0.5 and not a full 10 is because my money is not adding up to the work that I'm putting in, but it will.
Yeah.
So that's why I gave myself a 9.5. For physical, I gave myself a 5. Probably because I'm hard on myself, but 2 reasons. One, I committed to want to do a fitness competition on Memorial Day, and I am not there. I actually start my training with my food and my trainer on February 1st, because every trainer needs a trainer, and these ladies will be helping keeping me accountable.
Never volunteered for that.
Oh, yeah, it's happening. So that, and I'm used to being at a certain endurance level. I'm used to my legs looking a certain way, and so just for me, I'm not where I want to be physically. Spiritually, I gave myself an 8. I gave myself an 8 because I do my laying in my bed and I read my Bible plans. I'm reading these books that have been written by T.D. Jakes and some money books too. Because the more I know, the more you know, right? But I gave myself an 8 because there are certain things like a routine that I want to do and be a part of, which is I want to make sure I get to these Bible studies that are twice a week that I have not been getting to. I want to make sure that I am consistently going to a church, and I'm not consistently doing that. I do help with some youth at a church, but I don't even consistently do that like I want to. So I just want to get on a more consistent basis with my spirituality. And emotional, an 8. I gave myself an 8 because I get in my mind a lot. I call it, excuse my language, mind fucking myself. So like I would think, oh, everything's great, I'm a 9.5, and then when I get home and I'm laying in my bed, oh, but I think something else isn't right. So I think sometimes my hormones fluctuate. I don't know if it's a woman thing, and I think it may be something that's normal, but emotionally, I don't think I will ever be a 10, but I'm okay with that. Like I don't think I'm ever going to be perfect in the emotional area. I'm a Cancer. It happens. I'm sensitive with a hard shell. I don't know what to do about it. So that's really it for me.
Very nice. Love it. Okay, so mental, I rated myself a 10. Mental, I rated myself a 10, but I'm same as Lala, where like everything's happening, it's like firing on all cylinders, it's super exciting. For me, something that's really important in my work is that I am making an impact in a positive way, being an agent of change for people. And I also love to use my unique talents and skills like the way I want to. Like I used to do stand-up comedy, so I love doing this kind of roundtable. Like I tend to really like doing my stuff a certain way, and right now I get to do my thing exactly how I like to. So
Winning.
just feels good, girl.
Hashtag winning. First
I
time
am
on board.
Heather Locklear.
I thought you wanted a high five.
Yeah, let's high five.
You're the Egyptian version of Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
From one
Kayla
show.
called me Heather Locklear the other day because on Wednesdays I go from one live stream to coming to this live stream, and it's just like, I'm so famous right now. Just kidding. Alright, so anyway, so the point is, mental is banging. Physical, like I said earlier, it's a 6. I want to lose that last 15 pounds. And then in my mind, I want to even like do more after that. I just am like, all right, let's set one goal, let's get there, and then think about that later. It's very discouraging to have an extra 15 pounds on my body that seems to kind of just want to be like, hanging out. So hopefully it'll start coming off because shit ain't cute, okay? That's all I'm saying. Spiritual, I rated myself a 7. I really feel like an energetic call right now in my life to either go to church at least monthly or like meditate daily. Like I definitely feel this part of my life wants more attention and energy and nourishment. I haven't quite decided how exactly I'm going to do it, but that's why it's a 7, because it needs a little lemon. And then emotional, also 7. I have been uncharacteristically insecure, neurotic, and anxious lately. It's super weird. It's not cute.
Wow.
And like honestly, like makes me really empathize with people who experience like anxiety. Like I really don't know what it is. It might be because I'm going so fast with the career stuff that like I might just not be taking the time to like slow down and like tune in, and I don't know, but it ain't cute. It's not cute. And so that's really just my relationship with myself. Like I would say my relationship with like my husband and kids and like friends and family, all's great. I just feel like within myself, it might be that the spiritual and the emotional are kind of connected. I feel like once I give more attention to the spiritual, I feel like the emotional will like mellow out.
Yeah.
So, but that's why I rated it a 7, because it also needs some love. So, thank you, ladies, for sharing. Thank you for
I
listening.
just have one extra comment. This is a round table. I wonder if our emotionals, I'm looking at all our emotionals, and they tend to be like less than 8s, or 8s or lower. And I wonder, because it's only like a handful of guys in this group, what their number is for emotional. Like, it might be a woman thing, and I don't think it's I personally don't think it's a bad thing that our numbers are like this, because women are emotional people, like, compared to men, statistically.
Yeah.
Like, so I just wonder
Curious.
if there's any man that's watching this live feed, or on YouTube, or on Instagram, wherever
Ask
you are.
Dad.
If you want to,
Oh, see, my dad's an emotional person.
Oh, yeah.
I love you, Dad.
go ahead and comment and let us know, because I'm so curious, like, how do you feel your emotional is on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, okay, so like just on that note, before we move on to getting serious about like where we're going from here, like I think there's like something happening in the world right now. Like I literally think in the collective consciousness there's like a big change happening. Did you guys see Oprah's speech at the Golden Globes?
Yes.
I haven't watched it yet.
Girl!
You put it in
You
the
need
group.
to watch it.
I'm watching it.
right
I'm
now.
sorry.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
something's happening.
Like I feel like partially the reason my mental and my career is like firing on all cylinders and my emotional is neurotic and anxious is because the mom guilt. Like there's a part of me that, and I'm letting this go, even talking about it right now, we're like letting it go, y'all, because your words really create things, so you gotta be careful about the way you talk about things. There's a part of me that's like, is this okay? You know, is my baby gonna get everything he needs? Like just general anxiousness and guilt and fear around rising up as a feminine leader, rising up as a feminine career woman, and not just having the energy of self-sacrifice for everyone else. And I mentioned this Oprah speech because I really believe like the patriarchy is crumbling. I feel like Trump came into president so the patriarchy could freaking crumble. Like that was when the Women's March happened, and like that's when the Me Too movement happened. Like all of a sudden this feminine uprising is happening in such a gnarly way that like I sort of feel like, I don't want to get too weird and mood, but I feel like I'm an empath, so I just feel like weird stuff that sometimes isn't just like my own stuff. It's just like I just feel things in the world, and so I think that's part of it. Is I feel like there's a big change happening in the collective consciousness, and it's amazing. And yet there's like a lot of emotion whenever there's like a big change.
People are scared and like what's gonna
Exactly.
happen.
What's it gonna be
Julie
like?
said, hell effing yeah.
Thank you. Thank
So
you, Julie.
should we do some of their questions or any?
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
So there's a ton of. Oh wait.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to chat them to us.
I do remember. I know one person asked for sure about feeling. Should I feel discouraged because I'm not seeing the weight loss that I wanted to see? Oh, look at you, Miss.
That's a
Double
great
tap.
question.
So should you feel discouraged if you're not seeing the? That was the very first question posted. Should you feel discouraged if you're not seeing on the scale? Someone also posted a couple days ago that they said I lost 1.4 pounds. I'm really feeling like that's not enough. I think those are kind of similar.
What do you think, Keeks?
Should you feel discouraged? So just my straight up response, like regular Keola, I'll be like, heck no! Don't, like, I can't, you should never feel discouraged. How do you not judge that? That's like me telling you how to feel. I think that you can feel, not that I'm not telling you what to feel, but maybe I understand that you feel like, wait a second, maybe confused, like why is this not happening? I've been doing this, been doing that. And we all went on and said, celebrate every single accomplishment or celebrate every achievement. So rather than focusing on what you didn't gain. Look at, I exercised 5 days this week, and that's awesome. I logged my food, that's awesome. It's like, focus on what you are doing as far as self-care goes, rather than feeling discouraged by not getting the result. And just like Kim, that reminded me, she always says not to focus on the outcome of what's going to happen. So if you set, I like people to set more performance goals than outcome goals, because if it's I want to lose 15 pounds, that's great, that's the end result we want to get. But if you say I want to exercise 5 days a week, it's easier to check that off and control that than what you're gonna, how your body's gonna change.
And it's interesting hearing you talk, because it's kind of like circling back to what Lala observed.
It's okay, I'll tell
Mom
you.
life.
So guys, just to give you a heads up, we have cleaners in our studio right now, and it's kind of strong in here, so that is why Noelle keeps getting up. She doesn't have to pass gas or anything. She just has to get the baby out of the chemicals. And I need to get the chemicals soon, because I'm starting to get a little like, woo! You know?
It's a bleach.
So I wanted to say, like Lala earlier mentioned, like all of us have an emotional rating below the number 8, and maybe it's because we're women. Like I feel like what you're observing also is that like the women in the group some of them are being very hard on themselves.
Yeah.
So like this is a good thing to notice. Like what are the things you're saying to yourself? Like how are you talking to yourself? Are you saying it wasn't enough, I didn't cut it should have been more? Or are you saying I did this, I did that, and I'm making my way? You know, like it's so important, I feel like, to really take care of your emotions while you're paving your path.
Yeah.
I'm just preaching to myself at this point. You know what I'm saying?
The funny thing about the 6 though, like for me, I don't even remember what I said my answer was, because I'm still figuring out like why would I say 6? Mine was more so relationships. That's like just making sure that I'm like canoodling, connecting.
That's a word too.
Yeah, connecting with everyone. But one thing I can say, I am never really hard on myself. Like when it comes to that, like that's one thing. And my friends, my old group, like anybody, like I'm always like I'm the shit. Like, but in a way where, but still, like feel like I might feel that way. But then why is my career not out of 10? And why is like I know that I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't discourage myself, but that's just how I was brought up. My parents on a damn near daily basis were like, you're awesome, you're amazing, you're beautiful, so I grew up with that. But that also has a bad side to it, where it's like everyone doesn't think I'm this awesome.
What?
My mom thinks I'm awesome. So going back to trying to answer the question, should you feel discouraged? No, you shouldn't feel discouraged. And because when it comes to changing body composition, if you didn't take your inches measurements, you may have lost inches, you may have lost body fat. Or maybe your body is like, what's going on? There's the science behind why you did or did not lose weight. Every single person's body is different, and it really, your period can be here, your cortisol can be high. You maybe didn't log every time you had juice, you didn't realize juice has stuff like that. Maybe you didn't put your oil in, and that has calories in it. So that kind of stuff. So no, shouldn't feel discouraged. There's a lot of questions.
What do you think, Lola?
Yeah, what for what?
Feel free to read another one.
I was gonna read another one because I
Okay.
feel like I really got beat with that real good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Amber wants to know, how do we figure out what we want to do with our life, where we started. She doesn't know what she wants to do when someone else added on to her comment and said, "That's Julie." What's up, Julie?
Hi, Julie.
Do you all have certification in fitness as well?
Wait, so she wants to know, how do you figure out what you want to do with your life?
Yeah, like how do you figure out what you want to do? I'll give you a quick little background about me. So I went to Howard University. I graduated with a BFA in interior design. I came back home. There was a hiring freeze on the interior design world because that's when we had the end of the recession. I went into retail. I started my own interior design business while I was still working other jobs. I realized it was not feeding my soul. Like it wasn't making me happy. It was more of a luxury service. I felt like I was not impacting anybody, and for me that was a big deal, and I didn't realize it was so much of a big deal until I felt like I wasn't getting fed. So I originally became a certified trainer through Keola's class. That's how I met her. Because I come from a very obese family on my dad's side, and I was just trying to find a way to help them, and I knew they wouldn't go to somebody else. And then I also have a certification in corrective exercise, and that was for selfish reasons. I have bad knees, and I was trying to figure out how can I make my knees stop hurting. I also have a certification in what is it called? Nutrition. Yes, thank you.
What else do I have?
Nutrition. I'm TRX certified. But these are all things that I wanted to teach myself at first, and then, but for me, my purpose became my passion. So my purpose was to help my family, and I didn't realize that was my passion, because then I just started being able to help other people, and I realized this is it. Like, this is what gets me up at 4 a.m, literally lets me go to bed at 11 o'clock to start all over again, and then do extra projects like this. Like, that's how I knew this is what I wanted to do.
That's a great answer. So Amber, for you, think about what lights you up. Like, you're about to graduate in May with your bachelor's. Congratulations, girl! But really think about like what lights you up, and if you don't know, then just start to play. Or think about when you were a kid and you were just like having fun. Like, did you love to hold a microphone? Or were you someone who was really introverted and liked to do art? Or were you someone who was obsessed with math and science? Like, just think about who you were as a kid, and sometimes that makes it easier if you don't have anywhere to go off of. But that was a great story, just that like sometimes the original path you think is really not feeding your soul. Feeding your soul, like she couldn't have said it better. You get a high five for that.
Hey,
give me a high five.
Mind you, I still had student loan, well, they're paid off now, but like I felt guilty at first. I was like, oh, I spent all this money to go to a 4-year university to get this degree that I'm not even using anymore. But Pio likes to say, how do you say I'm designing people?
Yeah, she's designing people from the inside. She's doing interior design.
Genius!
Yes! She's still doing interior design. I mean, come on. That's going back to feeding your soul. Can I just say this?
Yes.
This might be new. So I was having this thought earlier, and I was like, Sheree would be so proud because I'm thinking about my soul right now. And it also touched into the discouraging question. And also, I'm just going to say this, and hopefully no one is confused or offended by this, so this is just a warning. When I looked at a lot of the goal weights that I said, you want me to help you with your macros? I looked at the goal weight, and I looked at the height, because a lot of people put their height in there, and I thought, holy shit, we are so kind of messed up on what we think we should weigh because someone told us that that's the weight that it looks a certain way. It has nothing to do with that it means you're healthy or not. And it made me think like this, like the scale weight and that's the mental, that's what but your soul, your spirit does not really care how much you weigh. Your spirit wants to be moving. That's like spirits move. And to be spiritually fulfilled, just know that it's most likely not going to be a scale thing. It's going to be, do I feel good? And if you start thinking about that more than the scale, and it's just going to change everything. Our mind is one that's like, I only lost 1 pound. But your spirit is like, dude, you moved. Oh my God, this is great. You felt better before you got on the scale. Did you or did you not feel good? I'm just going to put it like that.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, only. Then that's when. So just think about like feeding your soul, feeding your spirit, focusing even on that spiritual part, because if the spiritual part starts coming up, I mean, if we look at your numbers, so you're spiritually feeling great, when that means mentally you feel great. And then everything is like above. I think that if you look at them and you see the spiritual number is lower, then everything else starts to kind of go with that. So I just go through like figure out what you want to do, passion. How did you figure out what you want to do? How do you decide?
How do you figure out what you want to do with your life, where you started? Is like we all have certifications.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Save the baby.
How did I figure out what I wanted to do? I've never had a plan, so that's the truth about me. I moved to California about 10 years ago, and when I got here, I just kind of did everything. So I was a very customer service based employee. So I worked in retail, I worked in restaurants, I did bottle service at a nightclub. I did a lot of hands-on customer service stuff where I mainly. Are you taking him outside? Or because that's where it smells the worst. Sorry guys.
Mom!
Kill the fail.
So I did customer service for a lot of years. And then I went into banking, I worked in banking, and I realized that I loved the customer service aspect of it. I loved interacting with people, but I didn't like having to clock in. I didn't like having a boss. there was a lot of aspects to it that I just like didn't favor. But I always excelled at everything that I did. So I started working at a gym behind the front desk. I was the manager at a private gym, and I just noticed that what I was doing, what I loved to do was I loved to work out. So I would always stay after hours, and I would close the gym down, and then I would work out, or I would come in early and I would work out, and then I would do my shift. And I noticed that when people were in the gym, I noticed wanting to like go up to them and be like, hey, like, have you tried this exercise? Or like, hey, like, and I kind of like stopped doing what I was paid to do and like started kind of just like doing my own job in the gym. And so I realized like maybe I want to be a personal trainer. And it hit me that I'm not, and these guys will can vouch for me, I'm not a good one-on-one coach. Like, I'm not good with follow through really when it comes to like working with someone else unless I'm in person with them and I'm actually like physically seeing you. So that's when like the social media thing came about. I like just decided one day I was unhappy doing what I was doing, but I was working really, really hard at doing it. I found out what I was passionate about, which was fitness. I had a client that was in my ear who was just like, you need to quit doing what you're doing and you need to be doing this. And this client of mine is very well off for himself. He runs a multi-billion-dollar company and he micromanages a lot of different people. And he was just like, when you're ready, you're gonna be ready. When you're not, you're not. And it was as simple as that. And it was like, I was really offended because I was like, why aren't you gonna like tell me to do it? And he was like, why would I waste my time on you if you're wasting your time on you?
I remember that.
And,
That's hilarious.
yeah, and it was like, it was so eye-opening for me because I was like, damn, like, I thought we were having a conversation here. And like,
cool.
yeah, like you're gonna throw it at me like that. And he basically said to me, he's like, well, he's like, I'm gonna spend my energy in people who are wanting to spend energy into themselves. And he was like, if you're not there, then like we can be friends. He's like, but I can't invest in you business-wise if you aren't invested in yourself. And he's like, and what you're doing right now is you're wasting your time. He's like, you have a talent that you are neglecting because you might fear some things. He's like, you're staying here because it's comfortable and because you know how to do it, but you don't want to be doing it. He's like, so when you're ready, you'll make the switch. And at the time I was in a relationship and he wanted to move to New York, so I was like, whatever, why not? Let's just move to New York. So I've never in my life since I was 12 years old been unemployed. And so at 23, I was just like, yeah, why not? Quit both my jobs, let's move to New York. Like, I don't know where it came from, maybe I was in love. So I was just like, whatever, I'll go. And I got to New York, and when I got there, I was like, all right, like, what am I gonna do to have an income? Like, what am I gonna do to be able to like provide for myself? And I had kind of been growing an Instagram following. I was doing Herbalife at the time, so that supported me a little bit.
Herbalife.
And then my social media just like out of nowhere, it just like blew up. Like it grew so fast just because I was finally doing what I was passionate about doing. And it was working out. Like it really was like, I went to the gym twice a day. I worked out all the time. I was really into it. I was really into like learning new exercises and it just like, I think that's why my social media grew as quickly as it did also is because I was putting so much energy into what I was doing. Like I wasn't faking the workouts. I wasn't setting up my camera in the living room and throwing together a couple exercises. I was like genuinely like in the gym working out all the time.
Sweating and dying.
Yeah, and it reflected in the way that I looked, the way that I acted, everything. And so I decided to throw together my first online challenge. So I partnered with this company. I threw together an online challenge and it did like wildly successful. And I realized that although I wasn't good at working with people one-on-one, I loved working with a mass group of people because it fueled me. Like it gave me so much energy. It is exactly what we're doing here today. It's like it gave me so much energy to have this interaction with a huge group of people and be able to have one-off conversations with each of you, but then overall just be a resource and be a support and motivation to everybody that's in the group. Because I think the one thing that I share time and time again when I do these programs with you guys is that it's a two-way street. Like as much energy and as encouragement as I can give you guys, like you guys is what fuels me and keeps me going and motivates me and makes me want to work out. Like when I see you guys post like you're losing weight doing this challenge or you like are figuring out your budgeting, like it definitely for sure like gets me on my own ass to be like, well, like you have now coaxed these people into doing this program. Do it yourself. Like, get your ass in there with them and do it. And because I've been doing these programs the last couple of years, that's what's constantly kept me motivated and in shape and doing this, because if I'm going to be helping thousands or hundreds of people out there who are believing in me and using me as their source, like, I need to use me as my source. So I don't know if I even touched on that question.
That was
great.
great. You did. That was great.
What was it, Julie, and also, who else? Cha-Cha, I believe Keola already spoke on the keto earlier in this live feed. So those questions were answered. There's only one more question really in here that you guys pre-did, which is about financial life. Julie, we are a little pressed for time. I will type up your answer for you, okay, girl? Because you're a fellow Cancer. You know I got your back.
That's
all right?
So for you guys to close it out, all right? So I want you to think about like how you rated your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. And then in each category, I want you to look at and assess what would it take in these categories of my life to move this a little closer to a 10. So that's your assignment. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
Love you.
Bye. Now we gotta run and get the tech on the cameras.
Ooh.